Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. Mean Streets is a 1973 American crime film that was written and directed by Martin Scorsese. It stars Harvey Keitel and Robert De Niro. The storyline goes that Italian-American Charlie, who lives in the Little Italy neighborhood of New York City, leads a conflicted life. He identifies as a Catholic, but feels he has to deal with sins in his own way, other than saying Hail Marys. He works as a collector for his gangster uncle, but has empathy for those who can't pay. One of those that can't pay is his best friend, Johnny Boy. He's a self-destructive and disturbed individual who owes money to their loan shark friend Michael, but he makes no effort either to repay the loan or to stay clear of Michael, while he still lavishly spends whatever money he has on a good time. Charlie spends a lot of time trying to keep the peace between Johnny and Michael. Meanwhile, Charlie has been in a clandestine relationship with Johnny's cousin, Teresa. She's an epileptic who's in love with him. Charlie tries to reconcile all of these aspects of his life. Apart from his first actual feature, which was Who's That Knocking at My Door, and also directing a project that was given to him by an early independent filmmaker named Roger Corman, a film called Boxcar Bertha. This was Scorsese's first real feature film of his own design. His friend, director John Cassavetes, told him after he completed Boxcar Bertha, "You just spent an entire year of your life making a movie that was a piece of crap." This statement inspired Scorsese to make this movie about his own personal experiences. This film was based on events that the director saw almost on a routine basis while growing up in New York City's Little Italy. When he was trying to raise money for the film, Scorsese was offered a healthy sum by his mentor, Roger Corman, but it had a condition with it. He had to use an all-black cast for the film. Scorsese turned him down. Years later, his friend stated that the film was a great Italian film, but it would have been just as great as a black film. I don't see that at all. The voiceover narration that you hear at the beginning of the movie, where he states, "You don't make up for your sins in church. You do it on the street. The rest is completely crap, and you know it." These lines are not actually said by Harvey Keitel, who's the character that we believe is thinking these thoughts. The voice is that of the director Martin Scorsese. He felt that using a separate voice to make the distinction between Keitel's thoughts and his actions was very necessary for the character and this scene. The innovative use of handheld camera shots was really down to the fact that the film had such a meager budget that they had to stretch it by doing that because they couldn't afford to lay down a lot of tracks for tracking shots. To really get inside Harvey Keitel's drunken scene, the camera was actually strapped to the actor while he swayed about, and under-cranking of it was done to give it a woozy, drunken feel. Originally, the film was titled Season of the Witch. It was changed to Mean Streets, which was inspired by a quote from Raymond Chandler, "Down these mean streets, a man must go." Film critic Jay Cox suggested the change to Martin Scorsese, who thought it was pretentious at first, but eventually came around to agree that it was a very effective title. The movie has some great songs in it, and that's a highlight of it. But clearing those songs for use ended up being approximately half of the budget for the entire picture. The movie marks the first collaboration of director Martin Scorsese and Robert De Niro. De Niro was offered any of the 4 parts in the film. Once Harvey Keitel came aboard, Scorsese convinced him to take the role of Johnny Boy. The church that you see in the film is St. Patrick's Old Cathedral in Little Italy. This church was the location of the baptismal scene in The Godfather from 1972. It also appeared in The Godfather Part 3, where Michael Corleone receives an honor from the church. Now, the F word is used quite a bit in the film. It was used 52 times. At the time of its release, it was the highest in the history of film, until it was surpassed by The Last Detail, which was released 2 months later than this film. Frequent profanity would go on to become a trademark in many of Scorsese's movies. This movie, and also Taxi Driver, feature scenes where the main character deliberately burns himself by putting his hand over a flame. Charlie, played by Harvey Keitel, puts his hand in a candle flame at the cathedral altar. And in Taxi Driver from '76, De Niro's character of Travis holds his fist in a gas flame from his apartment stove. It's said that Scorsese wanted to make this film for so long that he had drawn out every shot in detail. In 1970, he briefly moved out to L.A. to make connections and to find someone to produce his film. He met with Jonathan Taplin at his house, and they talked by the swimming pool. The producer, Taplin, was in swim trunks, and Scorsese was wearing a long black leather coat, one much like the Gestapo used to wear in Germany. All through their discussion, under the blazing California sun, Scorsese never took his coat off. He just sat there melting into the deck chair because he was so enthused about his project. Now, in the scene where Teresa, played by Amy Robinson, takes off her clothes and bares her body in the film, all that was filmed at the Biltmore Hotel in L.A. Scorsese states that he got everybody out of the room except for the cameraman and the assistant cameraman, along with the sound guy. They did have a woman in there who was the script lady. They were trying to do everything they could to make Amy Robinson comfortable. But the truth be known, they were all terribly nervous doing it, and they didn't really feel like they had enough time to shoot it right. Most of the scenes that they shot ended up being cut because it was just filmed too quickly and they couldn't get it to come together in editing. It was a real learning experience for Scorsese because he had never shot a scene like this before. Take a look at this film from this acclaimed director. It's not a great one, but it's still pretty good. It's a fun watch. And Harvey Keitel is on top of his game in it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.